In my experience teaching thousands of music producers, I've noticed a few techniques and skills that a lot of people struggle with. You'd be surprised how common these mistakes are among producers, especially when it comes to mixing. So today I'll be talking about one of the worst mixing techniques you should stay away from, why it's bad, and what I recommend instead. And PS, I just dropped my official sound selection course on my online class for everyone who's been patiently waiting, but more on that later. What's good everyone, it's Chambers. I'm gonna be in FL Studio today, but this can be applied absolutely anywhere. The mixing technique I want you to stay away from is mixing with your eyes. I'm sure plenty of you know exactly what I'm talking about, but some of you are like, how do you mix music with your eyes? It comes down to this: instead of fully engaging your ears and listening to the music you're working with to make adjustments, people are using their eyes to look at levels and parameters and numbers to make their mixing decisions. There's a few different ways I see people develop this habit, so let's go into the mixer for a closer look. This guy right here, this visual of the master volume level, has destroyed so many lives. I'm kidding, but it definitely does cause a lot of problems and confusion in a lot of producers. Why? Because people get caught up in looking at the numbers instead of listening to the sounds. The master fader is where I see the most problems because you hear so many claims and opinions about what's acceptable in your beats. For example, you need to watch your master level and make sure you never go above -3 decibels when you export and send to an artist. Are you serious? So you're gonna glue your eyes to a screen to determine how you mix instead of actually listening to it? I'm sorry, what do you use to experience music? These things, you know, the things that actually pick up audio. These don't do that for you. See, now I can't see anything. Just kidding, I can see fine. How many fingers am I holding up? 2. That's like telling an artist to paint a picture with their ears. So here's what we're gonna do, right? I'm gonna play you 2 beats. I'm gonna play one from me, and I'm gonna play the other one from the guy who likes to mix music with his eyeballs. I'm not gonna tell you who's who, but what I want you to do is lock in, pretend you're an artist in a studio session trying to pick a beat for your next song. You want something that's gonna catch your attention and hit. So you tell me which one you're gonna pick. Clearly, the first one was not mixed with ears. You see what I'm saying? So let's go into the project and actually take a look at this. Here's the beat at -3 decibels because we want to leave headroom for the artist. That is the softest shit I have ever heard. I would be embarrassed to play that for an artist. Now let's look at my version. And now here come all the "what? You can't do that, you're above zero, you're in the red, you're not allowed" comments. I'm using my ears to mix something that makes people feel something. This actually hits. This is something I teach in detail in my online class. I also supply my students with the best quality drum kits for free to make sure their beats have that power and impact before they even get to mixing. With over 100 course videos to learn from, plus 5 of my best drum kits included free, my online class has been drastically improving the beats and techniques of thousands of producers. If you're interested, you could join today at chamberscourses.com. Links below. You could cancel at any time. And I have to tell you, just yesterday in the class, I put out my brand new sound selection course because so many people have been asking for it. 5 extremely detailed videos teaching you about the art of sound selection in instruments and drums, because picking the right sounds is one of the most crucial parts of producing great music. Since good sounds are so important, anyone who signs up to the full access plan will get my iconic, undeniable 1 and 2 R&B trap fusion drill essentials kits and more for free. So hit the link below to take advantage of that. It's just too good. So back to it. I'm not saying to clip and distort everything in the beat until you can't hear anymore. Let's make that clear. But as someone with over 50 major label placements in the industry, I have never sent a beat or played someone a beat at -3 decibels for headroom. So what do I suggest? Just turn it up until it hits, till it has that crispiness to it. Artists aren't checking for you to hit some exact numerical value. They want something that will make them feel something, inspire them. So I'll get my beats up there and get the crispiness that I'm looking for, but I'm never pushing it so hard that you're just destroying all the sonic characteristics. The more you practice, the better and quicker you'll get at it. So that's the mixing with your eyes problem. Let's go over another mixing technique I see a lot of producers fail to do. See what this is? This is a pan. This is what you're missing: stereo separation. Using this can make your beats sound so much better. But first, let's look at the actual problem. Here's a beat I did with my brand new iconic drum kit that you could get for free as a class member. I made sure to keep everything down the middle. Keeping it down the middle means there's no sounds directly pushed to your left ear or your right ear. It just stays in mono. So have a listen. There's nothing wrong with it, you know, it sounds fine as it is, but we could definitely make it sound much better. So the main area of focus are these two knobs right here, this big knob and this smaller knob here. This big one on top controls how far you're panning to your left or to your right ear, and this smaller knob underneath controls how much stereo separation you're gonna get. Let's start with the ground rules about what you shouldn't pan. Number 1 on the list, 808s. I highly recommend leaving your 808 straight down the middle in mono. There's definitely ways to finesse a fire stereo 808, but that's a more advanced skill I teach in my online class. Next up, snares, claps, rims, you know, anything that you put on the 3 and the 7 counts, or the 2 and the 4 depending on the tempo, I would leave that in the middle. Now that doesn't mean it has to be in mono, you know, you can have a stereo snare or clap. I'm just saying don't push it directly to your left or your right ear. Other than that, you're left with hi-hats and percussion, and for those, I say feel free to pan them. With closed hi-hats, you're going to see most of my panning done in the piano roll. When I have a hi-hat roll like this, I always pan it by going into this bottom menu here, and you'll see these green lines that extend either up or down, which represent pushing to your left or your right ear. I often find myself using 2 open hi-hats in the same beat, especially if it's from Iconic because they're so good. And what I'll do is put them into the mixer, and I'll have 1 pan to the left and 1 to the right. And lastly, with percussion, it's really about what you think feels best. Feel free to tweak the knobs left or right. Don't ever like push them way too far to the left or way too far to the right. That could give someone a headache, but you know, whatever feels good to you. Really just adding a subtle touch so the whole beat doesn't sound so narrow sounding. The other smaller knob will take an already stereo sound and either make it more wide or more narrow. When you push it to the left or the blue side, it will make it wider. Listen to how it sounds on the roads. You can hear it better between your left and your right, as opposed to this. That's more narrow. And if you turn it to the right side, the more purple side, it will make it go more mono. So that's what I put on my 808s. Let's do it to the Rhodes also. Now it's in mono. I teach full-length mixing courses on my online class that will go over everything you want to know starting from scratch. I take you through my entire process mixing all different styles of beats, explaining every decision I make. There's a detailed vocal mixing course, mastering beats and songs, plus a ton of other videos about production, and the sound selection course just dropped yesterday. So you get all that, plus all those free drum kits. Come on. Go to chamberscourses.com for a life-changing experience. Links down below. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and make sure to let me know in the comments what videos you guys want to see me do next. It's Chambers, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.